Hi, this is Mike for Nerdgenious, and today we are going to do a TechGenious video on how to reinvigorate your Xbox 360 pads. Now, this is a nice little pad. As you can tell, it's got a few scratches on it. I bought it second hand for one of my little ones, and the thing has not stopped functioning, but it's gotten a bit dodgy on the the joysticks and the gamepad itself. So I've decided to take a few of these little bits and pieces out and put a new shell on that pad. Excuse me, including new joysticks and buttons. But what we're going to do is we're going to transplant the original Xbox 360 buttons and the Center X onto the pad. So in order to do this, we need two, I think they're called tri-head screwdrivers, but they're used mostly for Xbox 360. You can buy these on eBay for like £1.60. You're going to need a Phillips screwdriver as well for this. It's basically to undo the pad, so in case you want to actually transplant the original pad or transplant the whole thing, you're going to need that, especially to take that out. So that's pretty much it. Let's just get to it. Right, first of all, we're going to need to take out all the screws. Now, there's a screw here that you're going to be using the Xbox screwdriver for. So there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe there's 5 screws in total, including one here that's underneath the stickers. You have to peel off both stickers to actually find it. I think the extra one's at the bottom here, but we'll take both off just in case you want to add that onto the new casing. So let's do that. Let's get that done and get it open, and I'll make sure that back just a moment to show you how to do the rest. So we're going to take that out. So let's take these screws out, and I'll be right back to take you through the next steps. As you can see here, I've removed the majority of the screws. Now, I did say 4, but actually on each side it's 3 on each side of the pad and 1 screw here, which is underneath the barcode sticker, the white barcode sticker. So I've just removed that, and I'm going to be taking that screw out. Once I've done that, we'll move on to the next stage. Okay, we've removed the center screwdriver now, so we can actually take this off. So in order to do so, I'm going to try and pull it from the sides here, and there you go. As you can see there, it's come off rather easily. Now underneath we have the motors, which you can detach from the pad itself, and we have the main board. If you can notice, there's the board. You have the pad itself that's intact. It's a bit dirty underneath, so I'm going to be doing a bit of a cleaning job. You can do that by getting some spirit, or you can literally just get a small little bit of solution to clean it off. Nothing with alcohol, because we know what happens that with alcohol. It'll just go into the board, and that's something that you don't want. But you can see the reason why this pad's been acting up. It's very, very dirty underneath. So once we've cleaned it out, and there's probably some loose buttons as well, we can then start taking the rest of this pad out and start transplanting it over to the new face. Now, as I said about the motors, let me just take those out slowly but surely. Give me 2 seconds and I'll do that right now. I'm going to need both hands for this. Right, I've removed the back, and as you can tell, there's the triggers at the top. One of them is actually loose, as you can tell there. I'll need to remove that and place the new triggers on there, and we can do that rather easily. Now, the fun thing with the motors is that you can just remove them from, because they've got like little links, little connectors that you can connect them onto. You can remove them from those connectors, and you can actually purchase new motors off of eBay if you want to, if there's any issue with these motors in regards to gameplay. So if I wanted to do that, I could do that, but these are pretty good. They're fine and pretty stable. The only issue that I'm having with them at the moment is the pads, the D-pad and the joysticks. So we're going to remove those and remove the triggers. Now, to transplant the joysticks, it's a pretty simple process. All you need to do is remove them individually. Now you can see there, that's been removed, and place the new ones on there. Now I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to keep these, because they seem to be in good condition. There's no wear and tear on them, like with my other pads. But I may keep them and have them as a prominent part of the new surface, because it might be like purple and black, but we'll see. Okay, I'll be right back showing you how to transplant the triggers. Right, I removed one of the triggers on the Xbox pad. It's pretty simple to do. Now I'm going to take you through the process with this one, but in order to do it I have to do this one-handed, which technically I should really be using two hands for this. Now, in order to do that, you need to remove this portion here, and you have to slowly pull at it so you can separate this connector, which I'll just zoom up on there, this connector here, and then once that's done, all it will take is a slight give, so you can actually pull it out, and then the spring will end up coming away with it. Now don't rush this, because if you rush it you're going to end up either pulling the interface off, or you're going to end up breaking something, which you don't really want to do. So let's try this. I'm going to try it with both hands and see how I go. Okay, it's not working as well as it did previously, but hopefully I can get this. There we go. Now, as you can tell there, it's given way, and I just have to pull it out, and I have the spring, and I can now just slowly jimmy the connector off, and that's done. So all I'll have to do now is attach the new connectors, and by doing that, this is sort of an easy part to do. So an easy part of the process, because this one was the left trigger, so we'll find the left trigger in my pile. Here we go. Now let's place the left trigger in place. If I do it properly, that is. Here we go. Now that's in place. Now what we need to do is we have to put the spring on, which is the next part. So let's put the spring inside. You'll see a little attachment that the spring goes onto, and it's going on there to the sort of plus marked there we go. Now that's in. Now all we have to do is bring this back up so we can actually fit the connector in, and there we go. So we have your trigger fitted in. So let's do that with the second one, and I'll be right back to show you how to do the front faceplate. Right, so we've got both connectors in now, so both triggers at the top. the right and the left are both connected and nothing's been, you know, broken. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work on the faceplate, the front faceplate, which is pretty simple. What we're going to do is remove the yellow, red, green and blue buttons from there, and also the Xbox home button. I'm going to transplant it onto this purple face. Now what I would suggest is giving these a good clean beforehand, so you can make sure that everything is presentable, because you don't really want it looking mucky. And the reason why I'm not using the ones that came in the pack is because they look like this, and I just think it looks gay. I'd rather go with something, you know, tried and tested and looks actually the part. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back with you in a second. Right, the Y, B, X and A buttons are in, which are also the yellow, red, green and blue buttons. They all fit into their slots rather nicely, as you can tell. There's not really any silly issue with getting it put in. The one thing that's going to be tricky though is this. This holds the Xbox home button. So in order to fit it in, we need to make sure that it goes in appropriately. So we're going to push it into its correct designated area and then just shove it in, which is in the center area here. So in order to do that, we need to make sure everything lines up properly, and then just give it a tight push, because if we don't, it won't fit the way that it's supposed to. There you go, that's in. As you can tell there, it's clicked in to both sides without any issues. And then all you have to do is just slot the X button in, and there you have your Xbox home button and your YBX name buttons. Now everything else is self-explanatory. You've got the select and start buttons, which we'll be using from the pack. So just let me find those. There's the select button there. You've got to make sure they're facing the opposite directions, so that's not to confuse things. There we go. So I'll be right back with showing you how to take apart the D-pad. Now for the D-pad, we're going to unscrew that and transplant this D-pad after cleaning over to this frame. Now in order to do so, we need to use a Phillips screwdriver, which I have one here. Bought this from the pound shop, believe it or not. Place it onto the two screws that are in there. You have one at the top, one at the bottom. Unscrew those screws, and then we're going to unclick it. So once I've unscrewed them, I'm going to unclick the surface. Okay, now we're removing the D-pad. In order to remove the D-pad, we need to just click it out of place, because it's got two components. It's got the first one at the top here, and the one at the bottom, which is the pad itself. Now, in order to do so, you need to click this off, because you remove the screws now. Just make sure you remove the screws first. Okay. And you can see the interlinking components, the circular ones that click into each other to make the pad work. So we've taken it out, and all we have to do is put aside the black frame, pick up our purple frame, place the D-pad back inside, and click both components together and into place. So as you can see now, we have a complete pad apart from the joysticks. Now I'll put those together in a second when we come back. Okay, now we're going to put the coating back on. These are sort of the I don't know what they're actually called. They're the parts that allow the triggers to connect with the board itself. So we're going to pop this back on the way it was on before on the other pad, and then we are going to, because we've got two of these, one that goes on the YBX and A buttons, one that goes on the Xbox home button, the other two that go into start and select, and also this one here that goes on to the D-pad. Now in order to do that, we just plop those back on, place the hoop around our little connector there because it's going to be screwed on so it doesn't move at all, and we just make sure that they're sort of snugly nestled over that. And as you can tell on the pad, we have the connectors here for the motors for when the pad vibrates. Now, and what we're going to do now, because I've cleaned the joysticks, so we're going to put the right stick on at the top, just pop it back on. Hopefully we can do so. It's rather easy sort of doing it two-handed, but there we go, that's back on there. And then we're going to get the left stick, place that back on its holster there, so we can actually move those around. And it hopefully will fit like a glove. I say hopefully. May take two hands to do this, so let's try it with the second hand. Got to make sure you know which one's the right one in order to put it on, because the right and left, the right is actually kind of smaller than the left, and you don't want to end up, there you go there. So we've got the right and left pads done. Now we can move this and place it into the front frame, which is what we're going to do now, and that's just fallen off. Lovely. There we go, we're going to place these in the front frame. Okay, it doesn't seem like this one wants to stay on. So both joysticks and the D-pad and the frame's all in, so place the motors in their little cubbies. We push this on to make sure that it fits appropriately. And then we move on to the next part, which is placing the right and left trigger buttons, center buttons, back onto the pad. Okay, it's all fully sort of put together here. Now this sync button is going to be the tricky part, because it just hooks in, but it won't stay in unless we get the pad back together. So we're going to do that by flipping this thing around, and as you can see at the front, we're going to just slightly lift it up and put the center buttons in. So we'll do that now. As you can tell, they need to snugly be put in place, otherwise it's just not going to work. There we go. And then we put the D-pad back in. and we just have to make sure that it's slightly, that all the components are connected properly, so that all the pads are matching the buttons. So we do that just by shoving it in and see, and hopefully it will all connect in and fix itself. Here we go. As you can see, everything's in. We're going to just trial it quickly. That's the left. That's the right. That's the sync button, which works. All triggers are in, and the motors. Now we're going to come back and fit on the back plate, and then fix the screws, and hopefully the pad should be working. Okay, before we put the back plate in, we're going to be placing this, which is the bottom part of the pad that sort of links everything together, inside our new base, because we've got to make sure that everything lines up, of course, and once that's done we can then place the backing on. So let's do that now. We make sure that everything's aligned so we can actually put this on, otherwise, because it's very fragile and it can break with ease, and we don't want to do that. Okay, so that's on. We need to now fit the backing. So let's do that. Place the backing on and connect it slowly to the rest of the pad. Now we refit the screws, and we should have a fully working purple Xbox 360 pad. Okay, so there you have it, folks. You have a working purple Xbox pad. Now all I've got to do is slip the battery in, and take this puppy for a test drive. I'll be testing it at some point, probably on my Resident Evil playthrough. And all I have to say to you guys is pretty much, if you have a wear and tear issue with your joysticks, don't get rid of the pad, because this literally was a second-hand pad, you know. And if you have, like, it had worn buttons at the top and scratches on the sides, and you know, I've been wanting, sort of itching to change it for a while. All they really need is, if a pad's acting up, is a good clean, you know, especially these wireless ones. You can, you know, replace the joysticks, you can replace the D-pad with other D-pads. So you don't really need to you know, purchase a new one, which is going to cost you about 20 to 30 bucks. Depending, if you're looking the cheap route, you're looking about 10 20 bucks a pop. You could literally buy a new frame on eBay for about 4 bucks, which is what I got it for, and then, you know, as long as you're good with your hands, you can replace everything apart from the main board. So that's pretty much it. So we'll see you guys. I'll see you guys in the next episode of TechGenious, and also subscribe to my channel. Check out my vlogs. You can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and other channels. Well, I better go. That's my son screaming. So I'll see you guys later. Bye. So that's pretty much it, folks. It's all done and dusted. Pad's been put back together. As you can tell, all the screws are back in place. So next time, if you do have a wear and tear on your pad, like when your buttons does get worn out, or you have an issue where it needs to be cleaned, just open it up. You know, you can literally get one of these for $1.99, or you could get the replacement cases for $3.99 and on eBay. You don't really need to replace the pad, especially ones that you love so much. You know, I've been used to using my wireless pads in terms of my playtime on my Xbox, and whenever something like the joystick gets worn, I can just replace it with a new one. You know, you can find replacement parts so easily on eBay for these pads, and it's just ridiculous when people just throw them away because they, you know, want to buy something new. And you know, the quality's still there, it will still work, and it will give you another few years out of it. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to show you this pad during another RE6 playthrough, so watch out for that. And I'll be seeing you guys next time on this channel for either another vlog or another TechGenious video. So make sure you subscribe. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and catch me on youtube.com/smarkoutmoment and youtube.com igotgameplay for more in terms of wrestling and gaming. So I'll see you guys then. Thanks guys, and thank you for watching my video. Remember to subscribe and refer this to your friends.